Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Thursday, June 29, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Submit declarations to Integrity Commission or leave job. Government tells defaulters. Two-lane structure connected by island proposed for CORENTYNE River Bridge. Stagnant jury pool in Guyana must be addressed, says AG. And the judge imposes almost 90 years sentences on 3 erring BERBICE men. Now for the news in detail. Many senior government servants and officials have been flagged for failing to submit their declarations to the Integrity Commission, and the government has taken a stance that should they remain incompliant, they would be asked to leave their jobs. Making this disclosure was Vice President Dr. Barajagdio in an interview today. Here is Rupasine Ryan with our lead story tonight.
President Dr. Irfan Ali has asked cabinet ministers to ensure that those officials working under them submit their statements to the Integrity Commission within a given time frame. If this is not fulfilled, they will be required to leave their jobs.
They'd have to leave the job. They'd have to leave the job. The president has made it very clear that this is the approach that should happen. They must comply. They have to comply or leave the job. That's the law of the country.
While all of the members of parliaments on the government's side is in compliance, several current and former APNU AFC MPs were among the officials that the Integrity Commission had cause to publicize for not complying with the law of declaring their assets.
And now one would think that since they preach accountability, now they're in opposition and they still continue with the same thing. 10 of their members of parliament did not submit their statements to the Integrity Commission. All of ours did.
The declarations track the growth of a person's assets once they assume public office, allowing for accountability. Under the law, any public officer who fails to comply with the commission is liable upon summary conviction to a fine of $25,000 and imprisonment for a period of not less than 6 months or more than 1 year. Rupasine Ryan, The Evening News.
The governments of Guyana and Suriname were on Wednesday presented with the design of the CORENTYNE River Bridge, wherein the consultant WSP Caribbean proposed a 2-lane and 2-section bridge that is connected by an island between the two countries. Vanu Manichand tells us more.
Trinidad-based WSP Caribbean unveiled the design of the CORENTYNE River Bridge during a detailed presentation to Public Works Minister Juan Edghill and his Surinamese counterpart, Dr. Riyad Nur Mohammed, at the second high-level decision-makers meeting held in Georgetown. The WSP Caribbean's design proposed the CORENTYNE River Bridge as a 2-section structure that is connected via Long Island to link Guyana and Suriname. The design also features a 2-lane bridge with accommodation for a 3rd lane in case of an emergency. It was noted that this presentation by WSP technical team was made ahead of the final report, which will detail other aspects of their study, such as cost of the bridge, traffic projections, design of the road, financial and economic evaluation, and environmental assessment, among other key elements. In brief remarks, Minister Edghill lauded the work of the consultant and their accommodation of special requests from the two governments.
At the policy level, we did ask the consultancy to provide some flexibility in that one, information that you had already available before your final report, we were able to access that and share with the pre-qualified firms.
According to Edghill, that information would help the 5 pre-qualified bidders to prepare and submit their proposals by the July month-end deadline. The bids will be opened on August 1, 2023 and will undergo 2 rounds of evaluation. First, individually by each country, and then jointly by the 2 nations to decide on the most competitive bidder.
That preferred consortium contractor or superior bidder, you might want to refer to that person, will then be engaged for negotiations, and we intend to have a contract signed by October of 2023 so that we can go into mobilization and actual construction. This is a project that should not suffer any delays. As a matter of fact, we need to be moving it along. And that is one of the reasons why we provided information ahead of the final report to get things moving so that we could have submissions at this time.
The U.S. $2 million contract signed with WSP Caribbean for several preliminary studies and research to be conducted on the Corentyne Bridge was funded by the Surinamese government. The high-span Corentyne River Bridge will be built according to the Design, Build, Finance, Operate, Maintain model and will run approximately 3.1 kilometers, connecting Mosen Creek in Guyana to South Drain in Suriname, with a landing on Long Island in the Corentyne River, where a commercial hub and tourist destination will be established. Reporting for Earth Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
Attorney General Anil Nandlal has expressed concerns that the list of persons who are selected to perform jury duties has not been updated in years, and he said this is an issue that needs to be addressed to reflect the current realities of the country. Find out more in this Tasia Dickinson report.
I have dispatched a letter to the Honorable Chancellor of the Judiciary conveying to the Honorable Chancellor the complaints which I have received in my public consultations with various stakeholders in relation to the stagnant jury pool which exists in Guyana.
That was Attorney General Anil Nandlal during a recent episode of his program Issues in the News. Having written to Chancellor of the Judiciary Yonette Cummins Edwards on this matter, Nandlal is hoping that the issue can be substantively addressed. According to him, more citizens must be involved in executing this important civic duty.
The jury pool in Guyana has not been reviewed in a number of years, perhaps decades. So the complaint is that the jury pool is quite narrow, firstly, that many of the companies that form part of that pool, whose employees are drawn to sit on juries, those companies are no longer existing or functioning. That's the first complaint. Secondly, there are hundreds of new companies that have entered the arena whose employees are not part, or who are not part of that pool, so their employees do not get an opportunity to discharge this important civic responsibility.
According to Nandlal, because of this stagnation, the question arises whether the pool from which the juries are drawn reflects Guyana's current realities.
The principle upon which the jury system is predicated is the trial by the accused by a jury of his peers. That's the fundamental principle, that you must be tried by your peers. Does the jury system, does the jury pool from which these juries are drawn, do they now accurately represent the peers of the accused person? This pool having not been revamped or reviewed in decades.
Expressing optimism that this concern can be adequately addressed, the AG emphasized that this issue is one of many needed to be sorted out in order to improve the overall criminal justice system in Guyana. Tasia Dickinson, The Evening News.
Coming up, relocation process for energy sector firms made easier through MBWSSI Forum, and al-Adha, a reminder of our duty to give generously, says President Ali. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Look out! The Oreos belong to us.
No, they belong to whoever finds them first.
Get your Oreo Transformers Limited Edition and awaken the beast.
If you want real energy, just send on if you got on two. Good source of iron for me and for you. Make you feel like say you have energy for two. When you make a mad flex with you and your cool work late or left the gym after two. Vigatan tonic a the remedy for some man for sue. So send on if you got on two. Vigatan. From your new energy you are defend. Just send on if you got on 10. Chunk up your body, drink and come again. Vigatan 2 are the remedy, my friend.
Vigatan 2, good source of vitamin and iron for
Optic offers great patient care that is tailored for my entire family.
At Optic, a wide selection of affordable optical frames and optical services are available to fit your budget.
At Optic, my family is provided with comprehensive eye examination and access to the ophthalmology services, all under one roof.
Optic takes pride in delivering exceptional customer service and a unique experience to you, our customers.
Optic Vision Care is a company that is Guyanese born and grown that will help you take care of your precious eyes.
Sally's Boutique is the place to shop when looking for quality high-end men and women footwear, wristwear, wallets, and clothing. Follow us on Instagram, Sally's Boutique GY. We're located at Charlotte Street between Camp and Wellington Streets. Contact us on 231-7519. That's 231-7519. WhatsApp 613-9578. That's 613-9578. Sally's Boutique, the new home of Clarks.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe. Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe.
Play virtual blackjack for an exclusive gaming experience. Do you have what it takes to beat the dealer? Visit www.superbet.gy and check out all the different bet types. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly. Superbet, your best bet.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. A judge at the BERBICE Assizes has imposed almost 90 years jail time on 3 BERBICE men who have found themselves on the wrong side of the law. The sentences were imposed by Justice Simone Maris Ramlal on Wednesday in the BERBICE High Court. Our BERBICE correspondent Andrew Carmichael reports.
The 3 men had previously pleaded guilty to the various offenses and were slated for sentencing on Wednesday. Darren Hunt Calderasta, 41 of Queenstown, Riverton, pleaded guilty in May to the capital offense in the death of 38-year-old Natasha Frank, whom he had a common law relationship with. He stabbed and submerged her in a trench on October 15, 2018. State prosecutor Muntaz Ali described the woman's killing as brutal and blatant and noted that she had been slain in broad daylight. He said Hunt's actions were irreprehensible, and while alluding to the serious nature of the offense, he pointed out that domestic violence, particularly against women, is a blight on society. Justice Simone Morris Ramlal said Hunt attacked his partner in broad daylight with a knife in such a manner that her carotid arteries were severed. Those arteries provide blood to the brain. Still not satisfied, she said, he then held her down in a trench until she became lifeless in the muddy trench. In this regard, the judge noted that the woman's murder was a premeditated plan, and Hunt's conduct towards his partner was cruel and callous, and he showed no regard for her life. The couple had been living together for 3 weeks. Hunt, who had previously been convicted on trafficking in narcotics, was sentenced to 20 years in jail for the crime. Meanwhile, also on Wednesday, 48 years sentence was handed down to a father of 3 for beating, raping, and robbing an elderly woman. Burned Luke called Brian, 50, committed the offense on a 68-year-old woman on August 15, 2021. Prosecutor Ali stated that the vicious attack lasted for about an hour and has left the victim traumatized. Justice Morris Ramlal sentenced Luke to 20 years for rape, 10 years for breaking into the woman's home, 12 years for armed robbery, and 6 years for assault. The 3 sentences will run concurrently, meaning that he will only have to serve 20 years jail. Additionally, 39-year-old Totaram Lalta of Adelphi Village, East Kanji, was sentenced to 12 years for causing the death of his elderly mother, 78-year-old Jagrani Ramatar. Lalta had been indicted for the murder of his mother, but opted to plead to the lesser count of manslaughter on May 23rd. On October 14, 2019, he got home after a night out with friends and saw his mother in the kitchen. He then slapped her multiple times, causing her to fall and hit her head. After noticing that his mother was bleeding from her nose, he went outside. Due to the severity of her injuries, the injured woman was eventually taken to the New Amsterdam Hospital and later transferred to the Georgetown Public Hospital. She was discharged on November 10, 2019, but died a few days later at her home. While Laltal's attorney, Soraya Sabsuk, asked the court to have mercy on her client, State Prosecutor Ali pointed out that the convict had been in the habit of abusing his mother. According to Ali, Lalta had previously been jailed for 6 months for threatening and assaulting his mother. In her sentencing remarks, Justice Morris Ramlal said that instead of honoring the woman who nurtured and protected and cared for him, Lalta had disrespected her. She then imposed the 12-year sentence. For the Evening News, Andrew Carmichael.
Aiming to simplify the process for corporate and individual clients interested in relocating to Guyana and joining the local oil and gas sector, MBW Energy Support Services on Wednesday hosted the 12th edition of its relocation forum. Pooja Rambaran has the details.
The female-owned and managed oil and gas support services company, MBW, seeks to offer businesses desirous of participating in the local energy sector with relevant information from government officials and industry leaders. This forum aims to provide a platform for information exchange and potential business support opportunities. The Center for Local Business Development plays a leading role in mentoring and building the entrepreneurial, financial, human resource, supply chain, and knowledge management capacity of local businesses to ensure their success. The Center's communications manager, Nicole Balram, during the forum, shared additional insights into how the organization can help companies interested in the energy sector.
The first thing that any business has to do to engage with the center, whether it be a Guyanese business or an overseas business, is to register with us at centerguyana.com or clbdportal.com. When you register with us, you'll be able to see all of the business and procurement opportunities that are available in the oil and gas space being posted by ExxonMobil and their prime contractors. But also you'll get emails from us about key business engagements, events that we host at the center or events that we support, so that you will be able to now know what are some of these activities coming up, how can I get more involved in the business community.
The center also provides training on topics including an introduction to offshore oil and gas, introduction to procurement, and introduction to health, safety, security, and environment.
The best companies are ones that have gone through certain training to work in oil and gas and know the government. So those companies are getting more contracts in the sector, and they're getting more government contracts as well. And they have multiple projects going on, but to manage all of it was proving to be a challenge. So the center again pivoted and introduced our project management mentorship program.
Meanwhile, Action Invest chairman Vishnu Duerga shared the benefits of becoming local content certified.
Even up to now, every time we have to do our management meetings for quality purposes, or we have our surveillance audits coming up, it's always good to know that our systems are being scrutinized and tested and reviewed, because that continues to allow us to deliver at the highest level.
He also noted that it's important to have a sense of where the economy is going and how that would affect the industry.
When we do have the fall, most companies actually do not recognize it because they still have some latent demand. They still have some contracts that they're fulfilling. They still have some receivables that they're getting in. And if they don't recognize this early enough, winter can hit them unprepared. And that is a very dangerous situation, because companies that have not learned how to be efficient, how to put all the systems in place, how not to pursue unnecessary spending, and how to ensure that they do receive a return on every single dollar invested, get wiped out pretty quickly during the winter. And in some cases, they don't survive it to see another spring.
Pooja Rambran for the Evening News.
Thousands of persons infected with human immunodeficiency virus can now seek enhanced care with the Health Ministry's recent procurement of a 105 million viral load testing machine. Here is Pooja Rambran again with the details.
This machine allows medical practitioners to test the viral load of patients with HIV, thereby determining the amount of HIV present in a patient's blood, how quickly the disease will progress, and how efficiently a patient is receiving treatment. The viral load test usually goes alongside the CD4 test, which assesses the number of T cells in a patient's blood. Speaking to reporters on Tuesday, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony noted that this machine is an important component in the management of some 9,000 HIV-positive patients in Guyana. The machine has been installed at the National Public Health Reference Lab in Georgetown. The minister explained that in the past, patients were given antiretroviral therapy, but the status of their viral load was unclear. For several years now, affected persons have been unable to access these routine tests, leading Guyana to fall short of the joint United Nations Program on HIV/AIDS, UNAIDS targets. In 2020, UNAIDS called for 95% of all people living with HIV to know their HIV status, 95% of all people with diagnosed HIV infection to receive sustained antiretroviral therapy, and 95% of all people receiving antiretroviral therapy to have viral suppression by 2025. Last year, Guyana had recorded just over 20% of people being virally suppressed. Now, this multi-million-dollar machine aims to bridge that gap. Pooja Rambran for the Evening News.
In his Eid al-Adha message to the Islamic community today, President Dr. Muhammad Irfan Ali underscored one of the principles of the festival, which is to remember one's duty to give generously. Here's what the head of state had to say.
Eid al-Adha is of special significance to Muslims. It is a day of joy, reverence, prayer, and gratitude. Muslims also use this festival for reflection and spiritual renewal, reaffirming their faith and obedience to Allah. It is a day when believers come together to share meals, exchange greetings, and extend their generosity to others. At the heart of Eid lies the story of Prophet Abraham's supreme act of faith when he was tested by God. Abraham's love and loyalty to God were put to the ultimate test as he was instructed to sacrifice his beloved son. Despite the obvious inner turmoil this command brought upon him, Abraham displayed unshakable faith, unwavering loyalty, and unfaltering obedience to God. Abraham's example stands as a supreme measure of total trust in God. The story of Abraham reminds us that challenges and difficulties are a test of our character and provide opportunities to strengthen and deepen our faith and repose greater and more trust in the author of life, God. On this festival of al-Adha, let us be reminded of our duty to give generously to others, including not only material things, but also that which springs from our heart, our care, compassion, and comfort. In so doing, may the Creator consecrate our efforts in building a more humane society. Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak, Eid Mubarak.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbor Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Friday, June 30th at 2 hours for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the BERBICE River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Friday, June 30th at 13:45 hours for a period of 1.5 hours.
Rain plays spoil in West Indies versus Ireland Women's second ODI and Digicel Championships. Zeeburg Westminster PC bag wins. Details of these stories in the Sportcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles.
Look out! The Oreos belong to us.
No, they belong to whoever finds them first. Get your Oreo Transformers Limited Edition and awaken the beast.
American-made Generac pressure washers from Sylvie's Variety Store gives you the power you need to blast away dirt and grime. Providing the perfect cleaning power for any tough jobs around the house or business. From 2,500 to 4,000 PSI. So get the Generac pressure washer today with all the parts and accessories available from Sylvie's Variety Store.